Anyone, literally anyone, can hold public office. No degree required, no experience needed, no mental health evaluation. You don't have to prove intelligence, competence, or even basic sanity. A doctor requires a license. A lawyer needs to pass the bar. Even a truck driver needs a transportation license and a driver's license. But a president, a minister, a senator, no qualifications necessary. Campaign promises, say whatever you want. Lie as much as you like. No one's stopping you. Once elected, you can run the country however you please. And guess what? No real accountability. It's like a 4-year marriage when you can't live. Imagine your spouse lies to you, steals your money, wrecks your life, but you still have to stay. You still have to work, pay the bills, and pretend everything is fine. By the end of those 4 years, you're broke, exhausted, and stuck picking up the pieces. A politician can do the same to a country, rip up treaties, ruin alliances, crash the economy, and there's nothing you can do until the term is up. He could be corrupt, incompetent, even completely unqualified. This doesn't matter. He holds the power. He decides your money, your future, your country's fate. And when it's all over, no consequences. He walks away rich. Fat salary, lifetime pension, insider stock tips. Maybe writes a book about what a great job he did. Gives a few high-paid speeches and disappears into luxury. Meanwhile, the nation is left in ruins. Most voters are uninformed, easily swayed, or driven by emotion rather than reason. The truth? A shocking number of people can't even understand a simple text. Look at Mensa test results. Most people wouldn't pass a basic comprehension quiz, and yet they decide who runs entire nations. Many people don't watch anything beyond stupid superhero movies where someone always comes to save them, or shallow romantic films about ridiculously rich people whose only goal is to make them happy. They follow celebrity scandals and obsess over football players making millions just for chasing a ball. Most aren't concerned about policy, economics, or the future, yet they still vote on it. These people have opinions. Still not convinced? 28% of the Americans think the sun orbits the Earth. The solar system has the Earth at its center. Now add those who believe vaccines are deadly, the Earth is flat, or that politicians actually have their best interest at heart. In a democracy, a university professor's vote holds the same weight as someone who can't even read, someone on drugs, or someone who actively wants to destroy society.
What was the cause of the Civil War, the U.S. Civil War in the 1800s?
What was the cause of the Civil War?
What do you think the cause of the Civil War was?
I don't know.
What would you say is the cause of the Civil War?
The Civil War? What caused the Civil War? They mostly, I'm thinking of the first war when we became Americans.
And then we had a Civil War. What do you think caused our Civil War?
Sin, I suppose, you know. There was something evil. Mankind is hard on each other, man. Yeah.
If you wish to invest your life savings, build your future, or secure your family's well-being, you wouldn't go to the village idiot for advice. You wouldn't ask, "Hey man, where should I put my money? What should I do with my future?" Of course not. You'd go to a specialist, someone educated, someone with experience, a person who has studied, worked for years, and understands the risks and rewards. Maybe you'd read books, seek expert advice, gather knowledge, because your money, your security, and your family's future matter. A country is more than just land. It's our economy, our military, our protection. It's our international reputation, our alliances, and our future. It's our home, our family. Yet we treat national decisions worse than we treat our personal finances. We wouldn't trust a fool with our savings, but we trust them with our entire country. We let incompetents, liars, and conmen decide our fate, while we sit back and watch. Think back to school. Remember that one classmate who never studied, never learned anything? Sure, it was due to bad parenting or a rough home life, but still they struggled. Now they vote. They decide your future, or even worse, they run for public office, and they might win. Now think bigger. The criminals, the corrupt, the scammers, the very people you wouldn't let near your child, your home, or your business. They all have a vote. Every person you'd keep as far away as possible from your life has the same voting power as you. Then there's the bigger category, the deeply frustrated, angry, and humiliated. They've always been at the bottom of the society, always struggling. No money, no opportunities, no respect. And no women, because let's be real, most women would rather not date a bitter, broke man. These men turn into extremism, full of hate, psychologically unstable, lashing out at the world. You see them on social media, aggressive, vulgar, rejecting logic, rejecting facts. They don't want a reason, they want destruction. They want the world to be as miserable as their own lives. And they only respect brute force. That's why dictators appeal to them, not for policies, but for raw, unapologetic power. These men see in them the dominance they crave, but will never have. And the proof? Just look at social media reactions to tragedy, war, disaster, suffering. Observe that there is always a pretty consistent group of 10 to 25% who's always laughing. They laugh when people die, when businesses collapse, when chaos erupts. It's not an accident, it's a mindset. And here's the terrifying part. These people vote. They don't want progress, they don't want stability, they want chaos. And they'll elect the person who promises to burn everything down. Meanwhile, the good, hardworking people, the ones that actually building society, split their votes across multiple parties. They have different views on what their country's priorities should be, and that's normal. We are different. The educated, the workers, the thinkers, divided. But the people who rally the worst of the worst, they always vote as one for the most destructive force. If you're watching this, you're part of the thinking minority. An intelligent, hardworking person who observes the world and cares about the future. Your bubble consists of family, friends, and people like you, but step outside and you'll see the other part of society, the criminals and the enraged masses. They constitute about 30% of the population. You see their influence in elections. Far-right and far-left extremist parties in Europe consistently pull at least 20%, sometimes more even when they combined. They aren't concerned with the economy, jobs, or stability. They want revenge. They want to see others suffer as they suffer, because deep down they know they will never succeed in the current system. Their frustration is purely destructive. History proves this pattern. Every major revolution, French, Russian, or otherwise, began with workers demanding change. But then the mob, the destructive 30%, took over and burned everything down, looting chaos and destruction. We see the same thing today when people peacefully protest against police injustice, inequality, or for better wages. The movement is often hijacked. What starts as a demand for social change frequently turns into riots. Stores are looted, businesses are burned, and violence erupts. The destruction isn't caused by those fighting for better society. The mob doesn't care about justice or fairness. They don't want reform. They just want to destroy and loot. It's them every time.
The breaking news as the George Floyd protests turned destructive in parts of Manhattan. This is just a snapshot of some of the damage the people will be waking up to in Soho. Through the night, protesters smashed into luxury stores, stealing items and clashing with police.
And this lust for destruction doesn't just surface in revolts. It happens every 4 years in elections. They always support the candidate who promises destruction. In Europe, they want to break up the EU, pit nations against each other, and restart old conflicts. In the US, they wish to tear down alliances, start wars, seize wealth, and land that isn't theirs. You wake up thinking about your family, your job, and how to improve your life. They wake up thinking about how to take what's yours, how to lie, how to manipulate, how to stir chaos. And this is democracy, a system that gives these people the same power as those who build, create, and work. And every election they unite behind flames of destruction. Not everyone votes with the country's best interest in mind. For many, elections are just a business opportunity. Billionaires don't see campaigns as political movements, they see investments. They pour money into candidates not because they believe in them, but because they expect financial returns. Tax breaks, government contracts, policies that benefit their industries. They found the right party and the profits roll in. Then there are party members and their families, not driven by ideology, but by self-interest. Many hold well-paid government jobs, secure contracts, or benefit from political connections. Their loyalty isn't to the country, it's to the paycheck that comes with the party's victory. And let's not forget the bought votes. In poorer countries, elections are often decided by cash, food, or fake promises. In richer nations, corporate influence, shady lobbying, and backroom deals serve the same purpose: democracy with a price tag. Democracy is not natural. It does not exist in the wild. In nature, the strongest prevails, the one with the sharpest teeth, the most muscle, the greatest force. Democracy is an invention of advanced civilization, a system that requires effort, education, and discipline to sustain. Common people don't instinctively understand democracy. It has to be taught. It is a delicate balance of institutions, rights, and responsibilities, something that must be actively maintained. And history shows that forcing democracy on societies that aren't ready for it leads to disaster. Look at the Middle East. The US spent billions trying to introduce democracy, and it failed miserably. Why? Because in deeply tribal societies, people don't even see themselves as equals. The concept of democracy collapses when people believe some are inherently superior to others. Another example, Eastern Europe, or even better, Eastern Germany. Even after 35 years of reunification, East Germany overwhelmingly supports extremist, anti-democratic parties that want to dismantle the European Union, support hate speech, and promote Moscow's political agenda. Same country, same people, yet after 50 years of dictatorship, hate, and oppression, even their children struggle to understand democracy. The damage lingers for generations. Even in Western democracies, equality is a recent idea. Women have had equal rights for barely 100 years, and in many cultures they still don't. In primitive societies, brute force dictates power, and because men are physically stronger, women are denied equality. The more primitive a society, the weaker the role of women. And here's the danger. When societies become poor, unstable, or chaotic, people revert to their primitive instincts. Extremists rise, democracy weakens, and the old ways, violence, power, and suppression take over. One of the greatest vulnerabilities of Western democracies is their openness, an openness that has made them defenseless against infiltration. While authoritarian regimes like Russia tightly control their political landscape, Western nations allow foreign agents to operate freely, even within their own governments. Today, Russian-backed extremists sit in parliaments across Europe, pushing Moscow's agenda under the guise of national interest. Political parties openly funded by the Kremlin disrupt democratic institutions, weaken alliances, and spread disinformation, all while hiding behind free speech and democratic norms. The EU itself is compromised. Hungary, Austria, and Slovakia are no longer just passive weaklings. They are active saboteurs, blocking critical policies, undermining sanctions, and amplifying Russia's propaganda. This isn't just political disagreement, it's deliberate, foreign-backed subversion happening in broad daylight. A healthy system has an immune response to threats. Western democracy, however, has no immunity left. It tolerates enemies in the name of freedom, a freedom that, if left undefended, will be its downfall.